Hi, this is Michelle from 12 by 12 Cardstock Shop, and today I wanted to share with you a few tips for making handmade banners with your paper stash. If you're like me, a paper crafter, you probably have a stash of paper on hand, and it's easy and fairly inexpensive to make these adorable banners for any occasion. You just need paper, ribbon, and something to cut with. Now, I have a Cricut maker, but you don't have to have an expensive machine. You can certainly use your Cricut or your Silhouette, but you can also use metal dies, or you can just print out PDFs off the computer and cut them out with scissors. Anything works. So let's get into the 5 tips I have for making adorable banners. The first tip is to choose mixed papers. So what that means is to choose different textures, different finishes, obviously different colors to give your banner some added dimension. So in this case, I've used a red basil mono textured paper, which is just a basic cardstock. I've used a green metallic foil paper, so you can see it has quite a bit of shine. And then I've used a gold metallic paper that's a matte finish, so it doesn't have quite the shine that the green does. And you can just mix and match your papers. That's part of the fun of planning, is just choosing your papers. But you want to make sure you're mixing to give it lots of dimension. My second tip is when you're stringing your banner, you want to make sure that all of your strings are not the same length. If you hang this up with all of the strings the same, it will just lay one right on top of the other, and you won't be able to see all the different elements. So it's great to make one of your strings a little longer and one of them a little shorter, so that when it hangs, you can see all of the elements. My third tip is to use basic shapes to add a little dimension. So in this case, I used a square that I did a fold line in the middle of and folded in half. It makes a triangle. You can do the same thing with circles, rectangles, diamonds, any kind of basic shape. Just fold it in half and adhere it to make that back layer of your banner. Next is a tip that we learned from our design team member, Tara Wilding. She has a special way that she prepares the backs of her banners, and I wanted to show that to you because I think it is genius. So what she does is she makes a special tab that she adheres to the back of each letter, and it has a rectangle with 2 dots on either side with fold lines. So she adheres it to the back, and then as she's threading the twine or the ribbon through, she goes through both of the circles to hold it in place. That makes it so that you don't see a tab on top of the banner and you don't see any of the backing that's holding it on. Now you might think that doing it that way would make your letters just slide around once it's hung, but it actually doesn't. It allows you to move your letters once you hang it up and get them in position just like you want, but then they actually stay put. The ribbon or the twine will catch on those little circles and it will stay put. And my last tip is to add a little bit of texture to your banner. So you want to add some sort of element that's a little bit bulkier and is maybe not paper. So in this case, I've used a fringe crepe paper banner. You can use regular crepe paper, you can use a bulky ribbon, maybe burlap. You could use little fabric strips tied to a string, but just something to pop it off the wall a little bit and give it a different texture besides the paper. And the other cool thing is that it actually hides the ends of your banner. So it will cover your command hooks because it's nice and bulky. You just put up the other elements, slip it over the top, and you won't even see the command strips holding it. We have tons of paper at 12 by 12 cardstock. We have Basil and American Crafts, textured and smooth in all the colors. Plus we have tons of specialty papers like these metallic papers, glitter papers, and so much more. So if you're ready to make a handmade banner, shop your stash and shop 12 by 12 Cardstock Shop and use these tips.